The sky over Kepler 9 burned with strange colors as James Walker stepped out of his small research cabin. He was used to the quiet forests, the soft glowing plants, and the gentle alien wind that moved like a whisper. But tonight felt different. The air was too still, like the world was holding its breath. James was a simple human scientist. He studied wildlife, took notes, and tried to live far from danger. He had no idea that this night would drag him into a war he never wanted and into the life of someone who would change his fate forever. He checked his scanner again. There it was. A distress signal. Weak, fading, but real. Someone out there needed help urgently. He grabbed his light pack, locked the cabin, and followed the signal into the glowing forest. Every plant around him moved with a soft blue shine, lighting his path. His steps were careful but fast. The signal beeped faster with every move he made. James felt his heartbeat rising. He had seen this kind of signal only once before, sent by explorers from the Arcosian Empire. And Arcosians never asked humans for help. Not unless something was terribly wrong. A loud roar suddenly cut through the silence. It was deep, angry, and far too close. James froze. He knew that sound. A shadow beast. One of the most dangerous predators on the planet. He moved faster, almost running now. The forest trees thickened. Strange purple vines hung from above. The ground shimmered with small glowing insects. And then he saw it. A huge creature, black scales, 6 legs. A wide jaw full of sharp teeth stood in a clearing, ready to strike. And in front of it, pressed against a stone wall, was a young Arcosian woman. Her body was shaking. Her scales shimmered with soft blue and purple light. Her eyes, bright and clear like amber fire, were full of fear. James could not breathe for a second. She was not just any Arcosian. Even he could recognize the royal markings on her clothing. She was a princess. He slowly raised his hands to show he meant no harm. She looked at him with shock, as if she never expected to see a human on this planet. The beast crouched low, preparing to attack. Its tail hit the ground hard, the sound making James's chest vibrate. James whispered to himself, "I can't fight that thing, but I can distract it." He grabbed a small flare from his belt and threw it far to the side. The flare burst in bright light. The beast jerked its head, confused for a moment. That tiny moment was all James needed. He ran forward, grabbed the princess's arm, and pulled her away from the wall. "Come on," he said. She stared at him, shocked, but her body moved on instinct. They both ran as the beast roared behind them. The ground shook with every step the creature took. James heard branches breaking, leaves crashing, heavy footsteps getting closer. The princess stumbled. James caught her quickly, supporting her with one arm. "You're hurt," he said. She tried to speak, but her voice trembled. "My leg, I fell." James looked back. The shadow beast was already too close. He lifted her in both arms. Her skin felt warm and smooth, her scales glowing softly in the dark. She looked at him with disbelief. No human had ever touched Arcosian royalty. But right now, she did not push him away. She held on tightly, afraid of the monster behind them. James forced his legs to move faster, ignoring the burning pain in his muscles. The forest path turned narrow. He ducked under branches, jumped over fallen logs, and kept the princess close against him. Her breath was unsteady. His heart felt like it would explode. But he did not stop. A loud crash behind them made him turn. The beast was charging through the trees, breaking everything in its path. James reached a small cliff. The drop below was steep but not deadly. "It's our only chance," he whispered. He tightened his grip around her. "Hold on." She wrapped her arms around his neck, her voice shaking. "Do it." He jumped. They fell through the air. Wind rushed past their faces. The princess held him tighter, her eyes closed. Then they hit the soft moss below, rolling to a stop. James gasped, trying to breathe. The princess slowly opened her eyes. "You saved my life," she whispered. He gave a tired smile. "Not yet. We need to keep moving." But the moment felt different now. She looked at him not like a stranger, but someone she trusted. Maybe too fast. Maybe too soon, but trust was trust. He helped her stand. Her leg was still weak, so he slipped her arm over his shoulder and supported her weight. They walked deeper into the forest, the beast roaring somewhere far above them. James kept listening for any new danger, but he also kept looking at her. Her scales glowed softly with every step. Her eyes held a strange mix of fear and strength. She was unlike anything he had ever seen. After a long walk, they reached an old shelter James had built long ago. He placed her gently on a soft bed made of dry leaves. "Are you all right?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "I am Princess Alira, daughter of King Tharos." James blinked. He had just saved the daughter of the ruler of one of the largest alien empires. The gravity of the situation slowly settled in. She watched him with calm eyes. "You risked everything for me. Why?" He sat beside her, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Because you needed help. And because no one deserves to die alone." She looked at him for a long moment. Her face softened. "Humans are strange, but maybe not as weak as my people say." James let out a small laugh. "I'll take that as a compliment." Her lips curved slightly, the closest thing to a smile he had seen from her. Outside, the forest stayed silent. Too silent. A war was coming. A fight he never asked for, but he had already taken the first step into it, and for some reason, he did not regret it. Not when he looked at her, not when she looked back. Princess Alira sat quietly inside the small shelter while James checked the door again. He made sure the vines were pulled down, covering the entrance. The night outside was dark and too silent, the kind of silence that felt dangerous. She watched him with sharp, focused eyes. Even tired and injured, she carried the presence of someone important, someone trained, someone proud. "You keep looking outside," she said softly. "You think the creature will return?" James nodded. "Shadow beasts don't give up easily. It may still be hunting us." Alira lowered her head for a moment, her silver blue tendrils falling over her shoulders. "I should have been more careful. I left my escort to explore. This is my fault." James sat down across from her, shaking his head. "You're alive. That's what matters." She looked up, surprised at his calm tone. Most humans were scared of her kind, but James talked to her like she was just a person. Her voice softened. "You saved me again. You could have run." He laughed lightly. "I think it's too late to run." Alira's eyes stayed on him for a long moment. There was a quiet respect growing there. James checked her leg. The bruising had spread slightly, but it wasn't broken. She flinched when he pressed near the wound, and he immediately pulled his hand back. "Sorry," he said. Her voice was quiet. "Your hands are warm. It helps." He glanced at her face. She looked away quickly, as if embarrassed by her own words. He gave her a small smile. "Let me wrap it." He tore cloth from one of his spare shirts and tied it gently around her leg. She watched him with strange interest, as if she had never seen anyone treat her this gently before. "I have a question," she said suddenly. "Why do you live out here alone?" James paused. He kept his hands busy, adjusting the cloth as he spoke. "I wanted peace. Earth was loud. Too many people. Too many expectations. Here, I can breathe." Alira tilted her head. "So you ran away?" He shrugged. "Maybe, or maybe I ran toward something new." She studied him with a thoughtful expression. "Most humans I met before were loud and full of pride. You are different." James chuckled. "I get that a lot." Before she could answer, a loud, deep sound echoed through the forest. Not a roar, something heavier. A ship. A big one. Elira's eyes widened. That is an Arcosian warship. James stood immediately. Your people are here? She nodded, but there was no relief in her face. If they find us like this, they will misunderstand. He frowned. Misunderstand what? Elira hesitated, her scales dimming slightly. I was alone, injured, in your shelter. They might think you captured me, or worse, touched me without permission. James blinked. What? I carried you because you couldn't walk. I know, she whispered. But Arcosian law is different. Too strict. Another sound shook the ground as the ship landed somewhere nearby. Elira quickly grabbed James's arm. Do not step outside when they arrive. My father's soldiers are not gentle. James felt a cold wave inside his stomach. Your father? The king. She nodded. Yes, he will be with them. James suddenly became very aware of the dirt on his shirt, the cut on his arm, the way he had Elira's scent on his clothes. This was not a good look for a human who just rescued a princess. What do I do? He asked. Elira looked at him with surprising firmness. Stay beside me. Do not run. Do not bow. Arcosians respect strength. Strength, James repeated quietly. Right. A heavy knock suddenly struck the door. Not a normal knock, more like someone hitting it with metal armor. A deep voice shouted, Princess Elira. Respond immediately. Elira motioned for James to help her stand. He supported her as she rose, her arm slipping around his shoulder again. She didn't let go. Enter, she said loudly. The vines were pushed aside, and 3 tall Arcosian guards stepped in. Their armor glowed with bright silver lines. Their faces were stern, sharp, and clearly angry. Behind them came a taller figure wearing dark royal armor with gold markings. His eyes were the same bright amber as Elira's, but colder. King Tharos. He stepped inside slowly, examining everything with controlled anger. His gaze finally landed on James and stayed there with icy focus. Elira spoke first. Father. The king walked to her, checking her injuries without touching her. You are hurt. I am alive because of him, she said, nodding toward James. The king's eyes narrowed. A human. James forced himself to stand firm. One of the guards stepped forward. Your Majesty, humans are not allowed near royal blood. He must be punished for. Elira cut him off sharply. He saved my life twice. The king looked at her, then at James. You carried her? James swallowed. She couldn't walk. I didn't have a choice. A long silence followed. Every guard watched with tense suspicion. Then the king said something unexpected. You touched a princess of Arcosia. By our law, that alone binds your life to hers. James blinked. What does that mean? Elira looked at him with a mix of fear and something else, something deeper. It means, she said slowly, my father believes you are now my life partner. James felt the ground tilt slightly. The king continued, his voice echoing with authority. No man touches my daughter and walks away free. You saved her. You protected her, and now, you belong to her. James stared, speechless. Elira whispered, Father. The king lifted a hand. It is decided. James tried to speak, but the king stepped closer, towering over him. You will travel with us, Tharos said. You will stand before our people, and you will accept your role. The guards closed in around him. Elira looked at James with wide, conflicted eyes. Her voice was soft but steady. I will protect you. You protected me, now. We face this together. James exhaled slowly, trying to understand the weight of it. He had saved her life, but he had also stepped into something far bigger, something he could no longer escape. James followed the Arcosian guards through the glowing forest, his mind spinning with everything that had happened. Hours ago, he was a quiet scientist living alone. Now he was walking toward an alien royal ship. As the supposed life partner of a princess, Alira walked beside him, leaning on a guard for support. Her legs still hurt, but she held her head high. Her scales glowed faintly in the night, showing her strength even through pain. James glanced at her. She met his eyes for a second, then looked away quickly. Her expression mixed with worry and confusion. He wondered if she regretted defending him. He wondered if she even wanted this bond her father had declared. But she said nothing. As they reached the clearing, James saw the massive Arcosian warship. It towered above the trees, shining like a giant silver blade in the darkness. Guards stood in rows, their armor glowing, their expressions stern. James felt small. Very small. King Tharos walked ahead of everyone, his heavy armor shining with royal marks. The ship's doors opened, and a deep humming sound echoed through the area. 2 guards moved toward James. Alira immediately stepped between them. "You will not touch him." One guard frowned. "He must be inspected. He saved my life," she said sharply. "He will walk beside me, not behind. And he will not be treated as a common outsider." The guards hesitated. No one argued with the king's daughter. King Tharos turned, watching the exchange silently. His expression was unreadable. Finally he said, "Let them board together." James walked up the ramp beside Alira. She still leaned slightly on him, but she didn't seem embarrassed now. Instead, her hand held his arm with quiet determination. Inside the ship, everything was clean, glowing, and high-tech. Soft light followed their steps. The walls reacted to their presence. James stared, amazed at the advanced technology. Alira noticed his expression. "You have never seen an Arcosian ship?" "Not from the inside," he admitted. She looked down, her tendrils shifting gently. "I'm sorry your first time is like this." James gave her a small smile. "Could be worse. I could be dead." Her lips curved slightly. "True." The king led them into a large hall. The air felt heavy with importance. A round platform in the center lit up as they approached. "This is the council chamber," Alira whispered. James swallowed hard. He had not expected to meet a whole council. Guards lined the walls. High-ranking officials stood near the platform, their expressions cold as they stared at the human who dared stand beside the princess. The king raised his hand. Everyone fell silent. "Arcosia has always honored strength," he began. "Tonight, my daughter lives because of this human." Whispers spread through the chamber. "He carries no weapons. He protected a royal bloodline alone. He risked himself for her." The king continued, "By our ancient law, the life that is saved becomes bound to the life that saved it. He has touched her. He carried her. He fought for her." Alira stepped forward slightly. "Father, the law is old. Humans do not know our customs." This was not his intention. King Tharos turned to her. "It does not matter. The law is made to protect royalty. Someone who touches a princess must either face punishment or become her shield." James felt his chest tighten. "What does punishment mean?" The king looked at him directly. "Death." Alira's breath caught. She stepped in front of James immediately, her voice shaking with anger. "Father, I will not allow that." James felt her hand gripping his arm tightly. She was afraid. Truly afraid. King Tharos looked at his daughter for a long silent moment. Something shifted in his expression, something softer. Then he spoke. "Then he will become your shield. Your life partner. Your chosen defender." Alira stared at her father. "Do you truly mean to bind my life to his?" "It is the law," the king said. She looked back at James, her eyes filled with confusion, fear, and something else. Something deeper. Something she didn't know how to name. James felt a strange calm settle over him. He stepped closer to her. "I don't want to die," he said softly. "But I also don't want to leave you alone in this. Her eyes widened. You would choose this? He hesitated for only a moment. You didn't leave me when your people pointed weapons at me. I'm not leaving you now. For a second, the whole room seemed to freeze. Alira's scales glowed softly, shifting through colors that James couldn't understand, but the emotion was clear. She was moved. The king watched them silently, then spoke with final authority. Then it is decided. The human James Walker will stand as the life partner of Princess Alira, protector of the royal bloodline. The hall echoed with murmurs, but no one dared argue. Alira stepped closer to James. Her voice was quiet and trembling. If you regret this later, I will release you. I swear it. He shook his head. I won't regret protecting someone like you. For the first time she smiled fully soft, warm, almost glowing. Guards approached and placed a silver band on James's wrist. It lit up instantly, connecting to a matching band placed on Alira's arm, a bond mark, symbol of connection. Alira looked at the glowing band with surprise and something like awe. James looked too, feeling something strange in his chest. Something he couldn't name. The king spoke again. You will travel with us to the capital. The people must see the one who saved their princess. James nodded slowly. Alira turned to him, her voice low but steady. From now on, we face everything together. James met her eyes. Together. Outside the ship, the engines roared as they lifted into the sky. Two lives that never should have crossed. Two worlds that never should have met. Now bound by ancient law, danger, and something quietly growing between them. Neither of them knew what the future would be, but neither of them faced it alone.